Welcome guys to another series of Python focus. So now in this series we'll be talking about tuple. In the last previous videos we do discuss what we call Python list, how Python list operates, what are the characteristics of Python list. But in this video we'll be discussing about Python tuples. So now let's dive into the course. Now, what are the characteristics of Python tuple? So the characteristics of Python tuple is, although Python tuple are always also in ordered, and also same thing applicable to Python list then, because Python list is also in ordered. That means their data is being indexed by their number. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So like this. So and let's say now not list, let's say tuple, not list. This one is also tuple. Let's change this to tuple. And this one is not list. Let's say tuple too. So now this is tuple. So tuple are always in ordered, but one thing about tuple is they are always unchangeable. You can't change them. But if you insist on changing or making changes to tuple, that means you need to convert the tuples to a list and then make the changes inside the list and then reconvert it back to tuple. So that is only how you can change an items inside a tuple. But one thing about tuple is they are always allowed duplicates too. So they also allow duplicates like apple and apple. So they allow duplicates. Now let's do the practical stuff. First, let's print the types of data that we have. So the type of fruit now let's run our code. And you see that we have the object of tuple. That means we are now working as tuple data. We're now working with the tuple data. So now this is tuple. So the difference between tuples and list is this bracket. So this bracket, this one is for list, and why the parenthesis is for tuple. So mind their brackets. So this bracket is parenthesis, while the tuple is the other bracket. So now in this item, so you can access the items in a tuples by their ordered number, like the way we did for the list, like 1 or index 0. Index 0 is apple, index 1 is mango. So when you run this code, you should have mango on the console. Now good, we have mango on the console because we know how to access the items in the tuple. So now let's move on to the second characteristic of tuple, which is unchangeable. So let's try to make changes to an items we have in tuple, which is not going to be possible. And let's say we have fruit, and then we have, maybe I want to make a change between for mango, and then we want to say mango is equals to maybe watermelon. You see it won't work. We have an error. So now let's now run our code. You see now tuple object does not support item assignment, meaning that it is unchangeable. That is why you are seeing the type error. So tuple cannot assign this item to the arrays that we have in tuple sets. So now the thing is, so if you can say that tuples is unchangeable, but if you insist in adding watermelons to the existing data that we have, so we need to convert this tuple back to list, then make the changes through the list, and then reconvert back to tuple and print out the item. So let's do it. Now let's say fruit now. So we can just say tuple. You can just convert this to tuple by just say okay, tuple as variable, and then use this Python casting like this tuple. Not this, like this list. So list function. So list function now converts the tuple data to let's say list. Let's change this to list. So we are now converting this to list. So now use this word to convert the whole item from here to list. Now we converted that. So once we converted that, we want to make items to the list now. Now let's say we want to make items to the list. You want to change the items of mango to watermelon. So you can just say this to watermelon. So that's to, so we need to reconvert back to tuple. So now to reconvert back to tuple, so you can just say fruit equals to tuple tuple cast, tuple function. So tuple then list, so then list. So now if you print item on the list like that, if you run our code, you should have watermelon in replace of this mango. So now let's see. Now do you see that we have watermelon in replace of this? Now let's go back to what we do again. Now these are our items in tuple, so fruits. So we have all these items in tuples. So all you just have to do is convert this item from tuple to list. And how do you convert from tuple to list? So you are going to use a list function to convert all the items in the fruit variable to list. So after converting to list, then you make your changes. You change what you know, since list is changeable, so you can now make the changes through the list and replace it with the index number of 1. Replace the mango with watermelon here, and then after you are done, make sure you reconvert back to tuple again. And once you reconvert back to tuple again, then print out the item on the list. So once you have that, you should have your watermelon changed. So that is only way we can make changes to tuple. And now that's what moves us to what we call Python tuple method. We only have two methods in tuple. So the methods are fruit dot count. That means you want to count the items of what we have. So let's say we want to count the items of apple. How many apple do we have in our tuple? So you can just say count apple. So then run this code, then you should see fruit dot count, then you should see this apple. Let's run the code, then apple, then apple. So we have our code runs. So now the second method that we have in tuple is fruit dot index. That means you want to search for the index number of, but you can only I noticed one thing that happened. Sorry guys, I made a mistake, and the mistake is, see, you can't use these two method for a string of data. So now let's try to use this method for a string of an integer value. So now let's say we have age tuple. Now let's say we have data of age now, and then we have maybe 10, we have 12, we have 12 again, then we have 23, like that. So now let's use the two methods. So the two method is now, this one is now age dot count. So age dot count, what are you counting? So we want to count how many 12 do we have in this tuple. How many 12 do we have in this tuple? So you should see, okay, sorry, we are not printing, we are printing fruit out. Now let's print age. Let's print age out. Now let's try to print age out. So now do you see we have the age printed out? So same thing applicable to what we have. So the same thing is, I think the index, I want to count the index number of where 12 belongs to. So we do same thing. So we have the same results. I don't know, but we should have different results using these two methods. But okay, that's it guys. So those are the two methods that we have in Python tuple. So in the next tutorial, we'll be covering everything that has to do with sets. So we'll be looking more about the characteristics of sets, Python sets. So guys, thanks for watching this video. See you in the next video. Thanks you. Goodbye.